run up in there and say, crying over her uncle, was because in the comic books, doesn't the niece become the White Tiger?
I think if they don't do something else with her, I'm going to be like, well, that was a useless moment. But I think they're setting up her to be like the one that takes over.
Gotcha.
The little kid that was crying and
Right.
kind of harping on about the injustice of New York and stuff. Yeah.
But Matt took the personal belongings. He didn't give it to her.
He did. Well, did he? I can't remember if he did.
He
or
was
didn't.
holding it, but they didn't show if he passed it to her.
I thought she pickpocketed him for something at first, but no. I'm not sure. I have to go back and see it, though.
So, yeah, it was like, okay, they kind of left it open, which is clever.
It's open-ended.
Because for people that know, hey, you going to give that to her?
She's going to take, I'm pretty sure by the end of this season, you're going to have a moment where Matt passes that on to her. Because, again, I remember what you're talking about, Seven.
Right.
But with the angle of the shot, I couldn't tell if he was holding on to it or she was grabbing something out of his pocket or some crap like that. But I think they're setting her up to be the replacement because he's out of here. They did our boy.
So I have to bring this up because I have to. I can't. Jonathan Majors.
Okay.
Are they going to bring him back into Marvel? There's rumors they were going to. Then it was like, no, they're not. Then it's like they're in talks. Even out of his mouth, there's some talking going on.
They're going to cut him a big enough check and he'll probably come back. I think it's kind of like whatever. I'm very casual when it comes to the MCU stuff now. So they announce Kang as the main villain. Controversy ensues. He's no longer the guy. Now we're going to go back and have Robert Downey Jr. reprise another character.
Right.
Now it's like, well, whoa, wait, Jonathan Majors, we take that crap back. We know that the allegations were crap, so we're sorry. Here, Jonathan Majors, here's a big old check. Come on back and we can get back on this train. Well, we'll see. It's kind of like meh. Either way.
I don't see them doing that, though.
He wants to do it. He just did an interview a couple days ago saying, yeah, I want to be there. It's like
for all those zeros, yeah. I want to get paid for being a Marvel joint, sure.
Yeah, but I just don't see Marvel doing that. I don't see it happening.
No, I do see it happening. I think what's going to happen is Marvel is just probably going to either A, kill his character off, and they just pay him a lot of money just to say, hey, here, Jonathan Majors, you was in it for like 10 or 15 minutes of the film. Mm-hmm. Or B, one saga will be King, the other saga will be Doom.
Oh, like having two main villains going on at the same time.
Yeah.
He won't be as big as he was before.
Right.
It's like the whole Johnny Depp thing.
What do you mean?
Remember how Johnny Depp got cut from a lot of things from his allegations, and then that got overturned, and he never got what he was before? That's what I feel like is going on with Jonathan Majors. He might get a little bit. He won't get what he was getting before. The whole Johnny Depp thing.
Gotcha.
But
I don't think people care about the allegations as much as they're trying to make it a big thing. And especially
they cared when it happened. They cared enough to kick him out.
Right.
We got the footage of him actively running away from the person that accused him. Oh, wait. And then it was she dropped the charges because, garbage. But I don't know. He'll probably be like, he won't be as much of a forerunning villain, I think, in the franchise.
Gotcha.
I think that'll definitely be.
He'll bounce back, but not in Marvel.
He'll be fine. He'll bounce back. But when it comes to the Marvel stuff, setting him as like the next big villain for Marvel, that probably is not going to be a thing. Not in the same capacity, at least. But he'll okay.
So, do you think at this point, you think it's just because as an individual, which is not right, but they're judging him as an individual. Well, we don't know what he might do tomorrow, so we can't invest that much in him because he's not squeaky clean. Because I can't. Yeah.
Man, I'll say this: Disney ain't squeaky clean. Nobody's squeaky clean. To me, you have Rachel Zegler that embarrassed you, and right now Snow White is doing horrible because of her.
Oh, that's who you're talking about. I'm like, who's Rachel Zegler? Oh, the annoying Gidget chick who played the new Snow White, right? That a bombed. Apparently, people hate that joint.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they hate it because of her?
No. And to make it worse, she's from New Jersey.
That makes it worse. She's from, I mean,
That sounds about right.
I'm from Jersey, but she's leaving a bad taste in people's mouth, and now they're looking at us like, so.
That's the horse they back, bro. That's the person that you chose for the role. That's
No, we didn't. We chose her.
I'm not saying we like
Company.
right did it. I mean like the studio. Disney
Right,
sat up there like, no, this is our chick. This is the screen. We auditioned her. This is gonna be the face of this franchise.
Right.
And then they let her go and talk, and she made a complete jackass out of herself. In every instance I've seen her in an interview, she's
done this more than once. This is not the first time.
Multiple times. I thought I was even fair. I was actually nice, you guys.
Right.
I gave her a shot at first. I'm like, maybe that was just a bad interview. Maybe that was just her kind of just trying to be like funny or something. But then you see interview after interview after interview where she's just this same obnoxious, abrasive, douchey individual. I'm just like, okay. I'm good. I don't even care about seeing the movie.
And it would be fair to mention this also. The fact that, like, and I'm just going to say names. I'm not hitting at them. I'm just talking. But you have Zendaya. You have, like, it's like whoever they can grab quickly to just throw these at these franchises and stuff like that.
It's the same.
I'm not interested in seeing Snow White live action. So if this young lady says a bunch of negative things, that's not going to stop. Because if I want to see Snow White, I'm going to see it regardless. Yeah. And I think that Hollywood really needs to stop functioning on this 1950s, 1960s mentality of let's just get a big name, throw them a bunch of money, and that will fill the seats. People don't watch these films because these individuals are in them. In fact, if anything, they're watching them despite these people are in them. You know, like, we don't really care.
It depends, Seven. I see where you're going with it. I kind of agree, but I kind of don't. And in one regard, because I say this, like a name brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to like clout and someone whose prestige kind of like can just fuel an entire franchise, we're still in that era. It's just
there's very few people that amongst all of us and people that we know that you could name a name. Oh, I have to see that because this one is in it. How many times have you heard that?
It doesn't happen as often, but it still is a thing. And there's still, I would say, it just depends on what field and what am I trying to say? What avenue of society that you're in.
Right.
Because there's a whole crop of like famous YouTubers who I don't know. If you told me, hey, Markiplier is doing a thing at the YouTube stadium, I'm like, I know who Markiplier is, but then you can name off an entire list of other people who I would have no idea who the hell they were.
Perfect example. Johnny Samadi.
Or worms like Johnny Somali. He's another YouTuber. We know him, right, Dayveonne?
Yeah.
But we know him for very different reasons.
Right.
Okay, but to Seven's point, you could get people to show up for like low swinging fruit. You could get a bunch of people to show up on PewDiePie's name alone, right? Yeah. In the YouTube sphere. People that know, people that rock in that kind of sector, they'll know who he is, and they could likely go to something just because his name is on it. When it comes to acting, you get certain actors that there's just a brand or a quality that you're going to gravitate towards. Denzel Washington is in a movie.
Right.
We're at least interested, right? Because Denzel Washington is that dude. He's a great actor. So we're at least curious as to what role he's going to be playing.
At least curious, right?
Look at it, right? So it still happens, but to your point, Seven, I get what you mean. It's not the end all be all nowadays.
And there's some major actors that I respect and I love, but because they'll take any check, just because you say they're in a film and I respect them, I'm not necessarily going to see it because I know they'll just take anything. So.
Oh yeah, Samuel Jackson.
Okay, you did it.
He's one of the greatest actors I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
But he's in anything. You can get him in anything, just about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to be the main draw for me, but I'm like, oh damn, Sam Jackson's in this one.
Right.
He's in everything, but sure, it's Sam Jackson. Cool.
I'll watch him. He's great.
I'll watch it. Yeah, I like Sam Jackson. That's cool. That what they're doing with this, I think, to get back to our Disney boat,
Right.
they're trying to frame these actors, these younger crop of actors, as
To be the next set.
that thing, to be the next set, that next crop. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It ain't hitting, y'all. It ain't hitting. It's like they're either unlikable, they're not even like me going around people that are weird. What's the I call her the Martian chick from Wicked.
Cynthia, whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm supposed to really. She's it. That's the next person I'm supposed to be lining up behind to go see.
Thank you.
Word. A whole franchise is supposed to be fueled on her and the other one.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
What's with all the Wicked hate?
No, because to me, I really don't like Cynthia, to be honest with people, because of the comments she made about the artwork that one of the fans did. And I'm
What
like...
comments? What comments?
Oh, I remember that. I know what you're talking about. There was somebody, okay, so, in the Broadway art, you have that face kind of hidden and going like this.
Yeah.
So someone basically took the Ariana Grande version with Cynthia and did the same thing. So she was offended that they covered her face. And it was like, all it was an ode to the original artwork. They weren't trying to disrespect Cynthia at all. But she took it as a level of disrespect.
Brittle egos at work. And then there's, for me, my dip out moment wasn't even the film. It was just that weird interview that her and Ariana had, where they just act like two little brainwashed cult members with that fake disingenuous crap. I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm good. I'm cool. Like, y'all, everyone has a will to be weird, but y'all do you.
They just did a new, people have been doing new videos of an old topic. So back in the day when Cynthia did the Harriet Tubman movie, right before that, she made some comments that African Americans are lazy, blah, 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 blah. It was like on that kind of like talking bad about African Americans. So people were like...
I'm sorry, Seven, not to cut off your thought. I'm sorry. She was in a Harriet Tubman movie?
Yeah, so I
played the
remember
lead.
that being contention because she's British and they wanted an American black person, not someone who wasn't American, to play Harriet Tubman. But I do remember that sentiment being said because that was a big...
That's a big hit.
Yeah, within the ADOS community, so...
Yeah. Now that was a new nugget of information I didn't have prior till the British woman that played Harriet Tubman went online and started talking greasy about African Americans, calling us lazy in the wake of that.
Not in that sense. So the whole thing was if you were to take a regular black person from America and put them into an African country, what would happen? Would they thrive or would they crash and burn like we see in movies and media over here? And so that was the big discussion, that how we're portrayed is not as authentic as the African people present themselves. So that there's a whole big thing, like we're not truly Africans because we didn't have the same culture after slavery. We lost our identity. We don't.
So that's how the conversation came about.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole ADOS. That's been the conversation.
Well,
and so
a
lot of people.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
So just like there's like the whole Jamaican migration that went to Britain, and now it's ingrained in their culture. That's their culture. African cultures, they have their cultures, and Black people in America, we necessarily don't have an identity or a culture, so that's where we don't fit in with the rest of the diaspora. That's the meat of the conversation, and she gave her points, being a Nigerian woman and from Britain, how they have their culture and we don't necessarily have ours.
Well, I remember the lazy comments, and that's how it got to my ears.
Yeah. My thing about, me hearing the lazy comments in the wake of that, and she's British, but she's Nigerian by lineage, right?
Right.
And if I wanted to then be a dick and go like, okay, where you hail from in your... Oh, do I even want to get on this? This might have to be for another day.
This is
like a whole other tangent. I don't want to say things out of sorts to where people think that I'm going a route that I'm not. But I'll just say this.
Do it! Do it.
I'm going to just round that down to saying it's a little. One could pose that same argument to her as a British citizen of Nigerian descent, right? Her people left her country because they couldn't make it work where they were. We could argue that her lineage comes from lazy people who couldn't get their stuff together, and they migrated to Britain as a last-ditch attempt to get out of the situation. Someone could say that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if that's the argument that she's throwing at people, be careful, because we could throw that one right back at you based on where you're from and where you come from. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually Googling because I never got.
I gotta brush up on that.
What's up?
I'm trying to look for the actual comments because it's been a while since this goes back to 2019.
No one has like actual footage. It's like snippets, but no actual quote.
I need the actual quote. Now, that's the thing, too, because this could be all just in the ether for no reason. If she didn't say it, I take back everything that I said. But if she did, that's just that's just a weird thing to say for someone who is in that situation and coming from, people of African descent herself. We could just as easily make that argument on her based off of where she comes from and in relation to where she lives.
Growing up in a Caribbean community, I have heard in the African community that Black people in America are not really African. So it's not a new topic. This has been around for a long time. So
it's been around.
Take with that what you will.
but here's the thing. It's like still like disrespect because at the same time you don't know what type of struggles. I get it of the fact that we never was born in Africa.
Corey, see if you could look up what she actually said. Because when I start to look it up, it started saying like the ghetto American accent, and so again, like you said, Drew, there's snippets, but you're not getting the whole context, and some things are really different.
I went looking for these comments. I couldn't find them, but. Again.
I would need the actual comment, but if that's not where she was going with that, fine, I take it back. Just the same, that's just.
And again, they might, they can scrub the internet. I mean, there's enough money, so that could be a thing too.
But if you say something particularly stupid or out of sorts, it gets saved forever. We all duplicate it, and it's on the internet for life. Right. So I'll take the full quote. We'll have to just see what.
The opposite side of that is I will give us a grain of salt. There are a lot of communities or countries that don't really have experience with Black Americans. All they have is what's portrayed in movies, in the media, and that's what they go off of. And
but that's the major problem. Like,
that's what started this whole conversation between who really is in the diaspora, who belongs. If we all went back to Africa, who would be accepted?
That's a justifiable, interesting conversation where people should respect people's where they're at and talking about it. The problem is if I did 4 films playing a homosexual African American male, right? But at the same time I'm dissing male, African American homosexual males. People will be like, well, how are you going to play the people, but you're taking the money to act as if, so that's the problem.
Correct.
You'll take the money to play someone of this type within the diaspora, but then you're going to sit there and bag on them like during interviews and in your public life. That's whack. Yeah. That to me is very.
I necessarily don't see her doing that because she was Celie. Like how?
Well, that makes it even worse.
Celie, Harriet. So, like, I guess the idea of self-hate has been prevalent for so long, but.
I'm going to throw, because we got about like maybe 15 minutes left, I'm going to throw this in the pot. We don't need to go there if we don't feel comfortable in going there. But Zoe Saldana, right? She has been I'm not Black.
Yeah.
Right? And it's interesting because she hasn't said anything negative about Black women, but she's very clear, I am not Black. Now, mind you, besides who decided to rape and pillage you and make you learn a language, anyone that knows anything about DNA and history, you didn't get that color by accident. right? But yet she's very adamant. But it's funny because she's another one that has played. I mean, her first couple films, she played black women. You know, so that's
Well, she played Colombiana. That's what I remember her from. I don't
yeah,
remember
she
her
did stuff
playing-
before. She played a cheerleader in a black girl in Drumline.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember those early films with Zoe Saldana. She was cast as a black girl, but
But here's the thing.
And you know it's well, sorry, just cut you just real quick, and then you could you know it's when I hope there's not a time where she says, "Oh, don't cast this person because they're not really this and they're not really that." I hope that never comes up because then you never should have taken the role to be a black girl since you want to be like, I ain't black. So, but anyway, go ahead.
I never need to hear that argument if that's the case. No, mouth shut, please. If that's...
All right, sorry, go ahead, Dayveonne.
Like, I'm just tired of this whole degrading black people in America. It's like, part of it I do blame us, but then the other part I'm like, you don't have the right to state that because you never actually understood what it is to be black in America.
Are you okay? So you went back to the Cynthia thing. That's what you're talking about?
That and it's always Adana.
Well, totally two different things. One person blatantly disrespect our culture versus someone saying, I am not a part of that. I don't identify as an allegedly, I am not an Afro-Latino. I am whatever, you know.
But then that doesn't also make sense if you are of the community and you're saying the people that you're a part of is lazy, like a form of self-hate. So
hold on, two different. You got to be specific.
Yeah, we're branching off two different.
You're branching off two different. You got to, and that's even just for the show. We're either talking about Zoe or we're talking about Cynthia. You got to keep because there's two separate ignorance.
All right, we're gonna go with Cynthia first.
Okay, I think we kind of killed that so that we get it.
Until we get an actual quote on what she said, I'm going to table that one for now and hold my reservations and judgments. But,
and
by the way, Cynthia, I met you. You seem really nice. But I would like you to come on the show and you tell us your perspective because this is going to haunt your career for the rest of your life until we can get down to the brass tacks of what you said, girl.
I just need the actual quote because, again, I may take it all back and be like,
"Is she on the show? I'm not being on it."
Okay.
I'll have that conversation with her. Even
I'll be on it.
Why were you? Yeah, why were you like that in that interview? Why were you and Ariana Grande so weird during that interview? I'll ask that question. But her whole, if she did or didn't say, "Hey, African Americans are lazy," I'm like, dude, it stirs unnecessary contention. And it gives, not even going whole outsider, us versus them thing. Every culture does this. I'll preface it there. Every culture judges itself in relation to every other race around us.
Right.
Okay? White people judge each other. They may do it behind closed doors, but they all do it. The problem I would say when it comes to black folks is we're too loud about it. We want to talk about it to everybody too much. Shut up. Certain conversations don't need to be had on television. They don't need to be had online. They don't need to be posted. There's just things that you have amongst the community with yourselves.
Yeah.
Until we learn how to get better at doing that, we're always going to have conversations like this where we're not throwing people under the bus or like calling people out, but there's the discourse which could lead into contention.
Corey, you looking? You're supposed to be searching on your phone all this time, Corey.
I told you I couldn't find it. I looked for it. They only hint at the comments being made. There's no comments that you can find.
Yeah, but all I'm going to say is to round down the thought of it, if she did say something to that sort, because people do it, it's not a new concept. This is no brand new concept.
Right.
People that try to sit up there and, well, I'm an American and my family came from this country. I'm like, yeah, your family came from this country to this other country because y'all couldn't make it work where you were. There was whatever circumstance, be it economic, be it political, y'all had to leave, right? We have our circumstance for how we got to America, right? But it's the idea that, oh, you guys are lazy because you were born. I'm like, dude, no, because we could look at you and where you're at and make that exact same assessment based on the fact that you could make it work in your own country.
Can I throw something out? This is a different thing, and you guys to tell me if you care, don't care, why is this even in the news? Or I'm surprised that this person was even married. Quinta Brunson,
Oh.
has filed for divorce from her husband, Kevin J. Anik, citing,
Irreconcilable differences or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have no idea who this is. Who is this? Quentin?
The lady who made Abbott Elementary.
Didn't watch it, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's divorced. It happens. She'll live.
I guess from online, the biggest thing was, well, one, people didn't even know she was even married. Nor, I think people didn't really know she was married because no one really cared. And then, but then it's like, oh, she's married and she's married to a white man. And people are like, oh.
That's why people care. Okay, now I see what we're talking about. Okay.
You see? So that was kind of interesting.
Wait, she's black? Is she black or something? Or?
Yeah, she's black.
Oh, all right, whatever. Well, wait, actually, a curious question. Who's paying who? Because she has a show, right?
Shots fired. I need some fire for that.
No,
well played, Court. I mean, well played, Drew. Sorry.
What does he do?
The white guy is Tommy. He just basically they stop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So she makes more money than him, right?
Or he was.
I would assume.
Money.
It was okay. So unless I know for a fact, we can assume that there's a possibility that she's going to be paying him, what do they call it, alimony, right? Or whatever it is that when you guys get a divorce.
Yeah, I never Googled him, so I don't know if he's an executive or he's a producer or. That's actually something kind of interesting. Should probably look that up.
Yeah, let's find out. Because if he isn't, she has to pay him, which I find kind of, land of equality. Let it be, right?
Yeah.
Let it be.
You said that so evil. Oh, Lord. We're running out of time. I'm just going to see if I can quickly see, because I've never heard of, I don't know who he is. I don't even know why it's relevant.
He could be like some heir to like a whole insurance company.
California's legal cannabis industry. So he sells weed. She's married to a drug dealer.
Okay. I mean, I ain't anti. I'm with it, but I don't think he's making what's her name, Quinta? She has like a multi-million-dollar thing, right, with the show.
Right.
Okay, she's probably paying him.
Yeah.
Just fun fact behind the scenes. If that comes to the whole divorce thing, she's probably going to be paying him.
Right.
Yep.
Interesting. And I guess
well. It happens. Hey, people get divorced, man. Dudes get shafted all the time. It's equality, you know, guys.
Equality.
Equality. They took what's his name? Jeff Bezos, right? Is that the guy?
Who?
What about him?
Didn't he have to give up like X amount of $1 billion when he got divorced?
Oh, yeah. But he made that back during COVID. I mean,
he made it back, and she helped him make it, so I can actually give her props for that one.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
He didn't. This guy helped her with that. I don't know.
Okay, so since we got literally 2 minutes, we're gonna ride this to the line. It's one of those. Do we even care? So, President Musk, reveals that allegedly Jay-Z paid $20 million for radio play, $40 million for country radio play, $110 million for downloads, so Beyonce can win Best Country Album.
We already know that.
Right. That doesn't sound right. That sounds like an awful lot of money for something that he would have just done by posting it online.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's not I don't know Jay-Z, right? But it's like, when it comes to how he releases things and how he moves, that doesn't seem financially smart. He's a smarter businessman, I think, than that.
Right.
He could just post something online and be like, the album is out, and not spend a dime. Why would he spend that much money?
He doesn't have that power in country, though. It's a different.
So what? I get it's an untapped, because there's a whole movement to try and get Beyonce like in a country music setting.
Right.
Yeah.
If he did, bro, that's
a lot.
That's a lot of.
I mean, there's a lot of communication, networking, a lot of payola to push, especially pushing someone black in that world. So as much as I can't stand Musk, it might not be far from the truth, even though he's a liar anyway. So
yeah, I'm like, I don't know about that one.
I don't. Yeah.
Stuff anyway.
Anyway, congratulations, Jay. You did it.
And, you paid country music an awful lot of money, apparently.